Well, now I want to turn to the next segment, which is O-scale high rail. Some even call it three-rail modeling. But from my standpoint, modeling is modeling. How many rails the track has doesn't make any difference. The sponsor for this segment is Millhouse Studio. So if we could run their video, please.
Millhouse River Studio builds model train working accessories that are made to last generations. Millhouse River products are built out of aluminum and have scale brass details that even the most demanding scale modeler will appreciate. Since our industry entry in 2009 with the introduction of our flagship turntable, Millhouse River has continued to add new, innovative products, like our scale transfer table, rotary coal dumper, flood coaling tower and, most recently, a working conveyor that transports coal from the dumper to the loader. All of Millhouse River Studio's stunningly realistic products are currently available in O-scale. We are adding new scales on some products, including the upcoming release of an HO scale turntable featuring our aluminum construction and stunning brass details that is big enough to handle a big boy locomotive. When it comes to your layout, don't settle for less, get Millhouse River Studio.
They really do have some fantastic products. Well, now I want to introduce the host for this segment, Dennis Brennan. Dennis, welcome.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jim. Thank you. David, that was a perfect lead-in for what I'm about to talk about tonight. And this is Craftsman kit building. Okay, so exactly what is a Craftsman kit? I think most people know. Craftsman kits require you to basically have a degree of building skills. And a Craftsman kit, here's a view of Craftsman kits right here. These are what I call traditional Craftsman kits. And by traditional Craftsman kits, I mean that they've been around for over 70 years. And typically you went from scratch building into Craftsman kit building. And what's the difference? Well, scratch building, Dave pretty much showed it to you and explained it. Craftsman kit building, the plans are already there. And all the pieces are already there. So that you got the plans, you got the pieces, and then you get the plans consist of templates, usually full-scale templates. You take all the pieces out of the box, and here's a typical kit. This is the Glor Craft Freight House.
Dennis, we don't see anything on screen, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Share screen. Screen one. Is that not showing up?
No.
Is that there?
There it is.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
I will go back to the very first slide. These are typical Craftsman kits. We've got Evergreen Hills design, Glorcraft models, Suncoast models. Those date back to I think 70s and maybe 80s, and not much has changed during that time. What they basically are kits that look like this. You open up the box and see a bunch of parts that make no sense unless you put it together. That's a Craftsman kit, or at least that's a traditional Craftsman kit. And as you can see, you get a minimum of instructions, written instructions. That's it, that whole sheet right there. And then you have full-scale diagrams, templates that basically you build on top of, where you take your measurements from. And that's pretty much how it went. And these, so these are the kits. Here's a close-up detail of the Suncoast models, Yard House kit. And that, that pretty much shows you built the windows. You put all the siding on, strip by strip. And then as the years progressed, we got more sophisticated with resin kits and plaster kits. Now, resin kits and plaster kits made things somewhat easier in that you had the basic 4 walls and possibly the roof, but you had to still, and you may have even had windows that were either cast lead, which was also available in some of the basswood kits that you saw before, or plastic. Now plastic was injection molding started and got popular after World War II. So these kits are probably from the 80s. And one of them is a plaster kit. That's a Tom York's building, but you had to build that turret right there. You had to put that together and make a jig for it. And there were some other things you had to do. That's definitely Craftsman work. And then Highland Station, same kind of thing. You had to build several pieces for it. Like I think you had to put the whole roof together and all of the woodwork on the sides of the building. And then the Berkshire Valley resin kit. The walls are there, but that whole loading dock platform and stuff, you had to build that, and there were plans for it. So now we'll say, so what's the difference? How are Craftsman kits different today, or are they? Well, now we have laser cuts. Okay, we have laser cutting, and laser cutting pretty much has everything cut out for you, typically in the size that you need, and the walls are all cut and sized. The windows are in them, and you may have to put windows together, but the 4 walls are pretty much cut for you. But there's still quite a bit of work. So what do they all have in common? Well, what they have in common is that they all require you to have a certain skill set. Now, whether it's a simple kit or a complex kit, because they range from simple to complex, some are like a little guardsman shack at a railroad crossing, might be 4 walls and a roof and a window and a door. Pretty simple to put together, but they still probably require you to have some skills like and tools like Dave was showing you. So they're basically more than any Craftsman kit today is more than 4 walls and a roof. They do require you to have a skill set, like I said, and most of the problem that people encounter is because the instructions are not as clear as you might think. For a veteran modeler, okay, but for somebody who's just starting out, they're going to be maybe intimidated because they don't know where to start. They can read, but it's like anything else. You have to develop a skill before you can, before you're comfortable doing anything with it. Well, usually people learn skills by either apprenticing with somebody or having a friend come over and help them. And so I think the manufacturers, some of them anyway, are kind of lacking with that in their instructions are not teachable instructions. And by teachable, I mean, they should show you how to do everything. And mine do. And I have to, I have to talk about that because I show you not only what tools to use, but I give you complete photographic illustrations and complete descriptions of what's involved in building the kit. So I don't leave anything to your imagination. Now, if you're a veteran modeler, there's more than one way to do something, but I show you how I do it, and I know it works because I build the kit using these methods. I wouldn't tell you to do something if it wasn't something I did myself. And there's another one. I explain a sequence. I explain, I point out little details that you could miss if you're not very careful. I tell you what products I use and how to use them. And I show you the tools as well, like a glass cutting board with a square, a carpenter square taped to it. Why do I do that? Well, glass cutting board provides a perfectly flat surface for building on. And the carpenter square, well, it gives you a perfect right angle. And then I also use machine squares, which help keep things vertical. I use 1, 2, 3 blocks. I don't have a picture of one of those there, but you can look that up if you don't have one. These are all great tools. A lot of these are available at like Micromark, or you can just get online and look for a particular tool and see if you can find it through Amazon or eBay. But Micromark has a lot of stuff. At any rate, that's basically the end of my slideshow here. And if there are any questions, give me a holler. Anybody have a question?
When Dennis and I first started talking about this presentation he was going to make tonight, one of the things that we discussed was the survey that I did when I asked modelers, what really makes a great kit for you? What is there about the kit that when you finish it, you can say, yeah, that was really a great kit? And the answer that I got back consistently was the instructions. The instructions were great, that made the kit. If I had trouble building the kit because of the instructions, or I just didn't have the skills and the instruction didn't help me, then that kit was not one that I would be interested in buying again. So down to the instruction. And when Dennis and I were talking and he started telling me his definition of a Craftsman kit and trying to explain to me the purpose behind some of the work that he puts into his instructions, what came through loud and clear to me is a modeler gains skills 2 ways. He gains the skills with a mentor that may live close to him that he can go by and talk to and see and have over to his house and help him build the model. Or he can rely on the manufacturer whose kit he bought. And in that way, the manufacturer becomes not only the seller of the kit, he becomes the mentor to help the modeler gain the skill necessary to successfully complete his kit. And so to me, that corresponds to why people say the instructions are what makes a great kit. The manufacturer, in effect, through his instructions and the way he prepares them and the detail he goes into, becomes the mentor for that modeler. And I had not realized that until Dennis and I really talked about it for probably 2 hours one afternoon. But I'm firmly convinced of that now. And I do think that it really goes back to the importance of the instructions the manufacturer puts in his kits, whether the modeler is going to really have a pleasant learning experience as well as building a great kit. So Dennis, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome, Jim. Thanks for that. I try to do as best as I can. I take more time doing instructions, writing instructions and photographing the pieces for them than I do in actually putting a kit together. It's that important to me, and I want people to have fun. That's what the hobby is all about. If you enjoy something, you're going to do it again. And I feel like I'm a teacher. So thanks for the opportunity to let me ramble on here. But I'm always available. If anybody ever has any questions about anything that I can help with, feel free to give me a shout.
Dennis, have you ever thought about putting instructions online?
I thought about it and I've decided not to. I put so much work into my instructions. I just worry about once they get online, some people just think that they own stuff, right? And I just don't want to do that. For maybe lots of other reasons too. But why is that important?
No, I know that most manufacturers do not do that. Only one or two that I'm aware of post instructions online. And I can, where some of my own kits that are very, it's like small kits, I end up writing 8 pages of instructions. And they say, well, I can't put 8 pages of instructions into a tiny kit. So I end up skinning them down, so there's some compromise involved with, how many pages of, do you want to put into a small kit in terms of packaging and whatnot? Doesn't make any sense after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I get it.
yeah.
I get it. Well, I spend a lot of time and I spend a pretty good penny on putting the instructions, printing them and, of course, I'm a professional photographer, so I don't have any cost associated with that except my time. And that's a love. So that's not an issue for me, but
Yeah.
that's a problem for many manufacturers, I think.
Well, I know a lot of people don't want their instructions copied, and they don't want, with all due respect to the scratch builders, they don't want people taking their plans and just scratch building off of the plans that they've taken off the internet. So
Yeah, exactly. And there are those people out there that would do that. So, yeah, I don't do it as a rule. In fact, I don't send things over the internet to people. Somebody says, "Oh, I missed something." I'll send it through the mail. I won't send it electronically. If it's a page that's missing or something, I'll just send it through the mail.
Interesting. Oh, good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Well, with that, then thank you, Jim. And thanks for everybody listening. And I will see you next month. I'm not sure what we'll be doing then, but as Dave said, I'll figure something out.